Hello everyone and welcome back to Film It Friday, and welcome to my office. You've never been in here. This is only a temporary office because we are going to be custom building a big studio in the garden in the next couple of months, but I thought I'd give you a tour of some of the equipment that I use and how I work within Premiere. So as some of you know, I don't always buy the latest and greatest technology. I tend to try and find technology that's a couple of years old but is still really good quality, and then I'll get a bargain and I can spend money in other places within the business. Okay, so let's start off with the physical setup. As you can see, there are 3 monitors on there. They're all exactly the same. They're made by Dell, they're 24-inch, they're IPS panels, and the color accuracy is really good. I think I paid just over £200 for all 3 of these monitors secondhand on eBay. On Amazon, they go for about £150 each, so I got a really good deal on those. I really like that all the monitors are the same make and model because all the bezels line up nicely. They create one flush panel when you're looking at it sat editing. I am kind of in the market for a 49-inch super wide display, but at the moment these are doing me absolutely brilliantly. I've had them for 2 years now and they don't miss a beat. They're really good. So moving on, let's talk about the microphone. So this is an Audio-Technica condenser microphone. This is it, this is the quality, this is what I'm using to record. And this runs down on a cheap arm from Amazon. I think this was £12 this arm, and it just connects straight to the monitor bracket, so there's no unnecessary mess on the desk. This runs down into the Scarlett TI2, which is my audio interface. Again, I've had this for a really long time and it's done me really well. This provides phantom power to the microphone, so I've always got really good quality audio when I'm doing voiceovers. And I didn't buy an expensive bracket to put my Scarlett there, it's just cable tied on. I use a lot of cable ties and a lot of Velcro in my setups. So let's move on to the TV. This is an LG TV, again, really old. We did buy this new probably about 5 years ago and we paid £500 for it. It's 42-inch, the color accuracy is awful on it, but I use it to do rough edits, and then I bring that monitor down onto one of my other monitors, which is color calibrated, and that's where I color grade it. So let's talk about the monitor speakers that I've got. These are Behringer, they're MS40, they're active speakers. I think I paid £100 for the pair of them, and they were £200 new, so again, got a really good deal on them. They're really good quality, they're brilliant for when I'm editing a voiceover and there's some buzzing in the background. I can hear that buzzing really clearly, whereas if I was editing on my headphones, I might not be able to hear that. So next to the speakers over here, we've got the Stream Deck. I'm going to make a separate video on the Stream Deck to show you exactly how I use it. That's a really interesting piece of kit. So underneath my Scarlett, I've actually got an Amazon Echo Dot, which I use to control the power to these 3 monitors and the LEDs behind. So if I say, Alexa, turn off computer, it turns off the monitors and the LEDs. Alexa, turn on computer, and it all powers back up, ready to use. So when I go to bed at night, I just use the Alexa to turn everything off, and that works really well and saves power. The computer does stay on 24/7 because it's constantly backing up, but it's nice to have the option to turn all of that off with one voice command. So moving along, I don't know whether you can quite see it, you probably can. It's something called the Icy Box. This is probably the best value piece of kit that I own. I think I paid £30 for it. They don't make it anymore, so if you can find one, buy one. Basically they've got 3 USB, it's a USB hub, and it's got 3 USB ports across the front, and it's got 4 SD card slots on the top. So if you come in from a long project, you've got lots of SD cards to transfer, you can do 4 at a time. Invaluable, I love it. It's kind of getting a bit old now. It's probably 4 years old and it's getting a bit long in the tooth, and I'm getting a few errors with it, but I will definitely try and buy another one when it finally dies. The next thing we have is a little monitor here, which will eventually show my front door, so I can see when people are bringing packages and things like that. When I'm editing with headphones on, it's really handy to have a view outside so I can see what's going on. And then behind this monitor, there's 24 terabytes of hard drives, and we do also have this beast, which is the Synology DS1815 Plus, but this is actually broken, so it's getting sent away today, and they're going to fix it for us. Okay, so let's jump into Premiere, and I'll show you exactly how I work. Okay, so now we're on the computer. I'm going to show you which screen I've got where, and I'm going to tell you which elements I've got placed within Premiere. So this screen at the moment is my far left screen. This screen is my middle screen. This screen is my far right screen. And this screen is the 42-inch TV. Now the beauty about Premiere is if you want to move something, you can move it pretty much anywhere you want. So you just have to grab it from the top and then you can move it. And as you can see, it'll snap into place literally anywhere that you want it to. So if I wanted the audio mixer below, I could put it below, but I'd prefer to have it on the side. And we're gonna make that time code much smaller. It took me quite a long time to figure out that you can actually do this in Premiere, but once I found it out, I spent a good couple of days figuring out where I wanted everything and how to make my workflow as smooth as possible. Something else, quick tip, is that my graphics card only supports 3 monitors. So you're probably wondering how I've got a 4th monitor. The really nice thing about Windows, I didn't realize you could do this, is that when you actually first install your graphics card, by default, Windows deactivates the HDMI that is on your motherboard. But you can actually go into the BIOS, reactivate this, and then you can have 4 screens. I don't know why they would possibly do that. I do play a couple of games in my spare time, and some of the games are a bit glitchy now that I've done that, but working within Premiere, it's absolutely wonderful having 4 screens. So let's start over here. I've got my audio mixer, so I can adjust channels on the fly if I've got audio playing. If I've got audio playing, you can see that it's coming through nice and clear, and if that one's actually peaking, I can just bring it down. So if I see anything peaking, I can control that, and I can also control the balance left and right, and I can mute certain tracks if I want to. I don't use this a massive amount, but it does come in handy at times. Next to that, I have my footage bin, and sometimes I will have 2 or 3 bins here. So if I do new bin, just call it test, and I drop 1 piece of footage in, and then then that bin usually opens in another window, but sometimes I have it set up like that. So if I've got multiple cameras that I'm working from, I'll have 1 camera on the top and 1 camera on the bottom. Really nice. Let's jump to my timeline monitor. That's what I call it anyway. I do have a source monitor here, so if I double click on one of the items in my bin, it pops up there. I can then scrub through it, find the bit that I want, choose in and out points using my shuttle, and then I can drag that clip or just that section of the clip into my timeline. I like having multiple monitors because it means you can get much more on the screen that you want to be looking at the time. Like this timeline when you first open up Premiere is like that, and that really stresses me out. I like to have as much real estate used as possible, and I've got my reference monitor there, and I've also got my essential graphics, so if I need to add subtitles or any kind of titles, I can just click on that and then just drop titles in, as easy as that. I do have this set up as a custom workspace as well. At the moment it's called Vertical Everything because I used to have my left screen vertical, but I've recently changed that back. But you can save this as a workspace, and if you find a couple of different ways that you like to work, you can save those as individual workspaces. Okay, so this is the far right monitor. So if I need to do color correction on the fly, I can do. I don't use this a massive amount when I'm editing and using the TV for cutting, because like I said, the color accuracy is not very good at all. But it is really handy if you just need to adjust the exposure or the contrast or bring down some highlights that are blown. Over to the right, I've got my effects tab, and I've got some favorites in here. These are the ones that I use most often. But it's just really nice to just be able to go over to that screen and search for the effect that I need, add it, and it just saves me a lot of time. Down here I've got my effects controls, so I don't use a massive amount of these, but something I do use all the time is position, scale, and opacity. So having that at my fingertips saves me time. I'm all about saving time when it comes to editing. And if you haven't watched my video of the Shuttle Pro version 2 yet, go over and check that out because that will save you a lot of time. And this is just my 42-inch TV, so I use this to view the current timeline that I'm working on. It's really nice to have it really big, and it's also out the way so you can concentrate on making those really fine adjustments. So that's my basic tour of my Premiere setup. I hope you liked it. There are a million different options as to how you do this, and it is so versatile compared to something like Final Cut. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Film It Friday. See you again next week.